Howdy, and welcome back to the podcast. Today we have another guest. We have Mr. Dylan, who is a representative at the Las Vegas Venom. He is one of the athletes and also a guy who never takes off his socks.
Thank you for having me, Ben. Yes.
Thanks for coming in, man. Why do you never take off your socks?
I don't know. I'm a firm believer, like, if you're going to be cold, right, it's because your feet are cold, right? So whenever you're, how do I best explain this? The feet is the first thing that becomes cold, then your whole body becomes cold. But if your feet are warm, you'll be warm.
And you're a warm kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm a warm kind of guy.
Do you sleep with socks on?
Oh, yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. And I learned this in the military.
Also keep your socks on all the time in the military?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Whenever we would do long hikes, it was imperative that you switch your socks. And if they were cold, it ruined your day. I just remember having wet feet. And I was cold, but whenever I had warm feet, nice dry feet, it was great.
This is I like wearing socks when I'm in public. I will always sleep without socks. I mean, the less clothes, the better. Honestly, the colder, the better.
I like less clothes, but there's only one pair that's gonna stay on. Is my socks.
That's got to look so weird.
It does. Am I ashamed of it? No. Am I proud of it? Yeah.
Why are you proud of it?
Because I feel like I'm winning.
You're winning.
You know how sometimes your feet peek out of the blankets, and you wake up and go, oh, I never get that.
I don't get that either.
I don't believe you.
If anything, I poke my socks, my feet out if it's too warm, just so I can get my feet colder. But you're all right. I mean,
I'll do a full leg. A full leg will come out. But I also have big tree trunks, so
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need my foot to kind of hang out every so often, get a little bit cold. But so it validates your idea that if my feet are cold, the rest of me is gonna be cold, because that's the first thing that I'm like, I need my foot to get out of the sheets because I'm cold as shit, or I'm hot as shit.
I think I'm getting somewhere with this. Maybe I should create something about it. I don't know.
I don't know what you create.
I don't know what I can create. It's a movement.
But athletes are usually, they run hot.
Yeah. I'll take off my shoes, but my socks will stay on.
So you're not extra hot?
No.
Do you sweat?
I am a sweater.
A lot?
It happens. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Sometimes I sweat, sometimes I don't. I guess that correlates to hydration.
Yeah. You probably should be more hydrated, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Do you pay attention to your hydration at all?
I do.
How aggressively?
At least a gallon and a half a day.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of water.
Yeah.
Do you have electrolytes as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you normally use? Are you like a salt guy, or are you like
Element?
Element?
Ever since I joined Grid and I learned about Element, Element all the way. You can't go wrong with it. I significantly notice a performance increase.
Element's pretty dope.
Yeah, it is.
They have a lot of. I mean, they're stout.
Yeah,
it's real stout. I used them my first time also at a Grid league, at this last competition, and I really enjoyed it. My headaches would go away. I felt really good. It's like, I think we found something here.
Yeah, I usually do a half a packet in the morning, and then a half a packet while I'm exercising, because I don't want 2 packets. That's a little excessive.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
2,000 milligrams of sodium.
Are you a salty sweater?
I guess I am. I don't know.
A good way to find out is if you have white lines, like if you wear a cap or on your clothes.
Yeah.
If you have white lines after you dry.
If I do a long cardio piece, I do get white lines. Yeah. So I guess I am sweaty. Salty.
A salty sweater.
Yeah.
So it's even more imperative that you probably have a little extra salt in your life.
Yeah. And change my socks.
And definitely change the socks.
Yeah.
At any point in time. Yeah. Or at least take them off in the most appropriate times.
That's true.
Will you?
I'll reevaluate my game plan. But I got some ideas. I'll just bring extra socks.
That's your game plan?
Yeah. And just swap them out, because I refuse to let my claws come out.
How do you feel about wearing shoes without socks?
Oh, that'll never happen.
It's the most disgusting thing in the world.
It is.
I don't understand how people do it.
I don't understand how people do it either. That and flat shoes, I don't understand that either.
Hold on, you lost me.
See, okay, if you're weightlifting, I understand them, but I don't know. Whenever I've been hanging out with Paul and Cassie weekend. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What kind
Like
of shoes?
flat shoes. Like they're just flat completely, like training shoes.
Like a zero drop shoe.
Yeah.
What do you wear?
Like training shoes or like Crocs or flip flops.
Those are flat.
Oh, I guess you're right. Fuck, I'm stupid.
What do you ever know?
I got some Rads on.
That's how do you feel about Reds?
To be honest, like I feel like shoes don't. Okay, I know some people are gonna judge me on this. I feel like shoes don't make a difference. I only got these because my girlfriend bought them for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't sponsor the team, so right now we don't like Reds.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's true.
But unless if they sponsored the team, then
And I love them. I love them. They're the best shoes ever.
they're the best shoes. I mean, I wouldn't wear anything other than Rads, you know?
Yeah.
Not that I really know anything about the company, but send us some Rads, you know?
Sponsor us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's no way. But, we can try.
There's a possibility.
It is. There's always a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, you're wearing them right now,
It's true.
so that's good.
Yeah. You want me to put them on the table?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that, put their stuff on this table.
Different things. Yeah.
Yeah, different things. So how did you get into the sport of grid league?
All right. So 2 years ago, I had an acquaintance, a friend, because I moved here about a year and a half ago. And I was going to the gym for like a month, not even a month. I just moved there. And I threw around some weight, and she recognized me, and she was already at a match with the Venom. And they ended up like losing 2 players, and they needed someone ASAP. I was in Orlando. They were already in Miami. And she was like, hey, you need to leave right now, but like you'll do something pretty cool. And I'm always down to work out. So I drove down. I was like speeding all the way because I had like 2.5 hours to make a 3-hour drive, and I made it. And ever since then, I didn't look back.
It's a hell of a starting story.
It is.
Did you do well at meet?
They say I do well. I don't think I did well because there was grid league's different than CrossFit. CrossFit, you can get away with some reps. Grid league, you're not gonna get away with those reps, especially when you have like bad mobility like I do. So whenever I was doing overhead squats, I just remember looking because it was at the very beginning of the race, and everyone was like, "Hump the air," and I'm like, "I don't know what I'm doing. I think these are good reps." And next thing you know, like everyone's like, extend the hips, and it starts clicking, and then I'm already like 20 reps in, 15 reps in, and I forget how many reps I had to do, but like it was well past over, and they're like, just switch, and I'm like, no. I ended up dropping the snatch, I throw back up, and it's like wonky, and I'm like, I'm finishing these damn reps, and yeah, after that, I ended up hitting everything they wanted me to hit, and I guess I did pretty well, but I just remember that one specific moment, I was like, I gotta tighten up, and I did.
Nice. So you got misrepped a lot.
Yeah.
You got a lot of extra reps
like
in.
10 rail reps. It was bad.
But you like working out.
I do.
So maybe not good for the sport, but
At that moment, it wasn't, yeah.
yeah.
I think I'm pretty good right now, though. But we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how this season goes.
When does the first game start? When does the season start?
Season starts in May.
Okay.
I believe. I think it's May.
What are you doing to prepare?
For me, luckily, Coach Paul, he already has like all the matches kind of like planned out. And luckily I'm a veteran player, so he already has kind of like where he wants me to be. And I know like how the style of the formats go. So for me, since it's such a fast paced, right, and I'm using my type 2 muscle fibers and it's so explosive, I need like a couple of days to recover. So what I'll do is I'll have one hard ass training day to where like I'll run through maybe like half a match, and I'll go 110% intensity, because in grid it's not 100%. You know, you're on 110%, and that's what people don't understand. Like the fatigue kicks in. So I'll go hard one day, I'll take a rest day, and then depending on how a third day feels, maybe I'll even take another active recovery day where I'll focus on CrossFit, because CrossFit's my main niche, and then I'll hit it again. And I'll work on my speed, I'll work on my transitionings, making sure that the volume that is I'm responsible for that match is up to par for what Coach Paul is asking for me.
What kind of volume are you looking at on those days?
For those days, like for example, one of the matches, I do partner forward, So at the very beginning, it's very fast paced, like especially partner forward, like you're setting the tone for the match. We for the one I just did this past week, it was deadlifts and pistols, weighted pistols. So what I did, I ran through that twice. So I did the first heat, the second heat, took a little bit of a break, ran it again. And then, so that's multiple deadlifts, multiple pistols. And then after that, I went to hang cleans. And then I went to a clean ladder. And I went into some overhead single arm kettlebell squats, some toes to bar. And then I went through the triad, which is a multitude of different movements.
What is the triad? What is the triad?
So for that triad, it's, I believe, 5 or 6 different movements. But this one is dumbbell burpee clusters.
What is a dumbbell burpee cluster?
So with 250s, you go touch your chest to the dumbbells, complete a burpee. So you're going to jump back up. You're going to hike it. Well, it's like a clean, but you don't want to do a full clean. So you kind of just pick it up high enough to where you're going right into a squat. So catch it right in that squat, press it up overhead, back down to the floor, complete that burpee again. And you complete that movement for a certain amount of reps. Right after that, you go into box jumps, but luckily for Coach Paul, he already has it planned out. I'm not doing the box jumps, so I rest a little bit. And then I go into pistols. I complete the pistols, and then I tag someone out, so I simulate a rest period. They do rope climbs. I take that during that rest, I'm chalking up because I got to do 15 power cleans, cleans at 185. And there's 3 athletes complete at a time, so I kind of simulate like maybe taking over a couple reps for certain individuals too, just in case the plans don't come.
So then you do all 15?
Yeah, I always do all 15. Yeah, full send. It's the last race.
It's a lot of volume.
Yeah, it is.
How many hours are you in the gym?
For that one, like you got to think like a race is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I try to simulate within an hour and a half, 2 hours. If you go more than 2 hours, like that's where the whole, like some rookies, like they'll come into the season and they're like, holy crap, like this is not what I expected, because it's within an hour, hour and a half. They train for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and they're like, why? Like, I can do these movements. I'm like, yes, you could do these movements, but with a short amount of rest. So I try to simulate like game day. And I do that now.
Do other athletes within the team train like this as well?
They say they do. I don't know if they actually do it. I mean,
yeah.
So this is my second full season, going to be my second full season with the Venom. And last year we had rookie players. And one of like the things that always irked me was people are like, oh, I got this score. I got this score. But I'm like, okay, but did you do it after X, Y, and Z? Or did you do it underneath fatigue? And they were posting times that was fast. Don't get me wrong, like we are fast, but wasn't underneath fatigue. And then they would show up game day, and then they would start looking at like the movement, like I can't do this, like I'm dead. And then it changes the whole format of the whole race, and now that sets us behind, and that's just what happens with rookie players, unfortunately.
I think anybody can relate with the idea that if they go for a sprint,
yeah,
and then try to do just bodyweight squats, it's fucking hard.
It is. You're right.
Take breaks, a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
You want to take a lot of breaks. But the idea is you just like, hey, find a consistent pace that you can like hang out at and like just get good at that consistent pace and then make that pace faster.
Yeah.
And then add load, which is the hard part.
Yeah. And that goes with like if that individual knows how to progressively overload, right? You start with a small progression. You go at like 7 out of 10 RPE. You work up to the volume of 10 out of 10 RPE. But, you know, I have the background in personal training, so I understand like how to periodize that kind of training and simulate it.
We've talked about RPEs several times on the podcast in the past, but what are RPEs?
Rate of perceived exhaustion, right? So like let's just say for I'm doing thrusters, right? My max thruster is around 275, 300, depending on the day. So if I go at like a 7 out of 10, it's like 70%. Or if I really want to take it in the aspect of like, how do I feel that day? Like I'm going to go to a 7 out of 10. So like maybe on peak day, a 7 out of 10 feels like around 225, but I'm exhausted. I'm overtrained. Maybe work life is overexhausted. I'm stressed. And that 7 out of 10 now turns into 185. So you just work on the rate of perceived exhaustion for yourself.
I like RPs a lot.
I love RPE.
Yeah, a lot.
But it takes like knowing your body. That's where people fall off.
There is a learning curve to RPEs, and that's the unfortunate reality, especially if you're like a new athlete and you're like, man, that felt like an 8. When I have new clients, I'm like, that wasn't an 8. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
I know
right
what
now.
an 8 looks like. Yeah, that's how I am too. And I always try to, whenever with my clients, I'm like, hey, what did that feel like on an RPE scale? And they're like 7. I'm like, but how many reps do you think you could hit? And they're like, oh, I think I could hit 5. That's like a 6. That's like a 5. Yeah. And I'm like, with a 7, you want to think like 3 more reps, right? And I try to like teach them. So like whenever I write them the programming, they know what to expect.
Reps in the tank is a really easy like tool to use. Like if you're an 8, you should have 2 left.
Yeah.
If you're at a 9, you should have 1 left. At a 10, that was your max. If a fly touches the bar, like you're done, you know? So I think, it is a learning experience, learning curve. But when you get it, like you can apply it really, really well.
Yeah. And now you're matching your CNS system with your actual muscle intensity. And that's whenever progress makes. And it's awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah. So what are your specialties? What are your jams in the sport?
Anything squatting. I got the genetics. So like I got a long torso, smaller femur. So whenever I squat, it's very quick. I got smaller legs. I got big legs too. So, and I got a lot of type 2 muscle fibers. So like whenever I get in that bottom position, I'm shooting up. So like back squats, front squats, clusters, thrusters, pistols. That's a lot of the movements in grid, and I excel in them. And then on top of that, being a utility player, I can do some of the gymnastic movements as well.
Nice. You said you don't have good mobility, but if you're doing pistol squats, I mean, you have pretty good mobility.
Yeah, my mobility like lacks not in the lower region, more in the upper region. I started with powerlifting, and I was in the military. I was a meathead, big meathead. I thought of eat or be eaten world. So like all I did was do the 3 lifts, the bench, deadlift. Actually, I hate deadlifts. So really? I never deadlifted.
Why?
And that was my downfall. So when I was I ended up breaking some of the bones in my back.
Okay.
And now it's impacted me. So I avoided back day. And then I overused chest and leg day. And now I got the rounding shoulders and a little bit of the head leaning forward. So whenever I go into a snatch, I can snatch. But it's just, I'm really relying on my shoulders and my own muscular strength to keep that weight up.
I would imagine you do a lot of like power position stuff for that, right?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of power positions. Like I can make a lot happen, and I can make a snatch if I work on it. Unfortunately, I tore my labrum, and now snatching is my nightmare. But I can do power snatches. It's just going into a squat. Yeah,
it's the overhead stability that's difficult.
Yeah, it's just whenever I go deep into like I can power, get that elbow rotating out, but whenever I go into a squat, it starts internally rotating. When it starts internally rotating, my shoulder internally rotates, and then that hits that part of the labrum that's torn. So as soon as I start getting to that depth, I'm really working on it. It's coming a long way, but it's a lot of neglect that I did in my early years that I'm facing the consequences now.
I also tore my labrum, left shoulder, and it was not a fun time. Front tear and anterior tear.
Yeah,
and too. I have 3 metal clips that line that front of my shoulder now, but like pretty much no issue. I think within like several months after the surgery, I ended up like benching like four plates, 405.
Yeah.
Probably not the best idea, but I was like 16, 15 years old. Like, fuck it, like let's get back to it, you know. But it did like, thankfully, through enough like personal like rehab and prehab, pretty much like no issues, which is great because a lot of people get a shoulder surgery and then they're fucked, you know, like for the rest of their lives. But I think a lot of it just has to do with like, are you doing all the extra exercises or not, you know?
Yeah, and I also think it also correlates to like the physical therapist. Like a lot of times, physical therapy, like therapists they'll kind of like treat you like everyone else. If you're an athlete, the therapy routine is not like everyone else. You should be progressing at a significant more pace. Obviously pushing the boundaries, but also safely. You don't want to go to that increased intensity. So finding the right professionals to really help you rehab.
I had a terrible experience. Terrible. Yeah. I mean, I remember showing up and the guy would be on the elliptical You're like, all right, we're gonna elliptical for 20 minutes. Make sure you grab onto the handles and you do the thing.
Are you kidding?
And I would elliptical for 20 minutes, and then that was my therapy for the day.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And you're just wondering, like, how did I get, like, you said you were 16 at the time?
Yeah.
Your recovery rate's through the roof. You said you were benching 400, and you're getting treated like some 80-year-old who can barely raise their arm. Like, that's just not right.
Yeah. I mean, I realized maybe at the very beginning, especially, like, I was having a hard time, like, moving my fingers even, and I had a significant amount of atrophy, but, like, there was no real, like, external load placed on that tissue, even by the time I got to, like, really moving. So, sure, maybe the first week I'm doing elliptical stuff, whatever, but at some point, like, we have to start adding some sort of, like, external load to, like, help with the amount of atrophy that I've now experienced on that arm, like, we got to do something here. And there was nothing done.
Yeah. Whether that's just grab it like this is perfect. And now you're working your biceps, your forearm, and oh God, yeah. I got my own personal opinions about professionals like that.
I think physical therapy is I realize that they are regulated by insurance, right? And so there's only so much you can do. I remember we had a physical therapist come in, and she was like, there's 7-minute intervals that you can work on specific body parts or different tissues, and then you have to move on to the next thing. And so everything's regulated by a certain timeline. And that's, you can only make so many contacts, which is like being a personal trainer. It's like I can be with a client for as long as I want, right? Yeah. And if I just read the books and understand the material well enough, and then get the certifications, then I can like apply that same stuff to a client and provide extra value. Now I don't take insurance, but I can take HSA, right? Like there's still ways around that. But I don't know how long it'll last in the personal training world.
Yeah. And how long we can get away with it. Because a lot of times, like, prime example, and I hate to go like on topic like about this, but one of my clients, he had a tumor in his brain and lost function on his left side. And the physical therapist that specialized in that field treated him very well, but his insurance ran out. So he had to go to an external source. The external source babied him. And then he ended up developing a habit of shrugging up, and he lost all movement in that shoulder.
Damn.
And now, like me as a personal trainer, like now I'm doing massage work, I'm doing joint manipulation. I'm trying to relax the upper trap that's taking over the majority of the movement of the shoulder and trying to get that range of motion back. And now, like, we're making a lot of headway, but like just because of neglect and the babying, because he's a bigger dude, like he has muscle, and he had a background in weightlifting. It's
unfortunate.
It is unfortunate.
What do you love about the sport the most?
I love the fast pace and how it weeds out. And I hate to say weed out because I want the sport to be inclusive, and I want it to eventually turn into where it's impacting more of the community side. But in a professional level, it weeds out people trying to say like, oh, I can do this. Because I can't tell you how many times I do it at a gym and people are like, I can do what you do. And I'm like, you can grab 200 and just sling it up on your shoulders like it's nonstop. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, have you ever cleaned before? And like, no. And I'm like, it's a lot more complicated than you think. And it's not just one movement. It really puts us apart. And when they put it in a team aspect, it's 3 different fields. You got gymnastics, you got body weight, utility, gymnastics, utility, and strength. And if you think about like all the niches in the world, you got people who like their calisthenics, you got people who like CrossFit, and you got people who like doing Olympic lifts and powerlifting. You incorporate all 3, and it's now put in a race format, and it's awesome. I think I love it because if you market it well enough, you're targeting everyone. We're just not there yet. Yeah.
What was your biggest win in a meet?
Biggest win? Oh, man. See. Oh, honestly. See, I could thruster like no one's business. And I remember, I think it was last season. And I think the race was Echo. At the very end, it was 15 girls. Usually, they just had to clean and press it. And then men, they had to clean it, do a power clean into 2 thrusters. And I remember like we were behind and I just run over and Paul and Maddox, they were screaming at me, "You gotta do like 7." And I remember I was just busting it out. I cleaned it. I was thrustering. I'd go back into a clean. I was doing thrusters, and we'd get it so fast. We caught up and won the race. I was like, "Dang, I'm pretty quick."
Pretty tired.
Yeah, I was tired, and I was like, "I'm pretty quick." And that's like at that point, I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool."
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a good win. With socks on.
Yeah, with socks on.
Yeah,
socks
of course.
on. Yeah,
You gotta have
that's what helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bombas.
Yeah.
What's the ideal brand of socks you wear?
As long as they cover my feet, I don't care.
You don't give. Oh man, Bombas is where it's at.
Is that the one that like restricts your like?
No,
that's a good pair, right?
They're just a popular pair. They're just a good brand. I use 30.
You're just messing with me now.
There's a good brand. Also 32 degrees, also a good brand. Just saying. Yeah. Maybe we'll see. So, yeah, that's good. What's the biggest like challenge they had in a meet?
I think the first meet, meeting to the standards. Like I said, like CrossFit, you can get away with a couple reps. Just like you look like you're locking out the hips. With Grid League, you're not getting away with it. And you'll just get no rep and no rep and no rep. And then if you don't have the situational awareness or like the just kind of in the zone match to be like, oh, I gotta fix something, because they're not gonna tell you like, hey, lock out the hips. They're just gonna go no rep, and you should know like, hey, you gotta fix this. Where in your body position is like messed up. Like sometimes like they'll say lock it all the way out, head through or something like that. But like it's very quick and you're going so fast. It's like my first match, I couldn't hear anything. I just remember I just had to move fast and I didn't even know what rep I was on. I was just going.
That's kind of a good feeling though. Honestly, it's like
feeling.
So meditative to get to that point, you know? Like I remember I'd sit down for a bench and I just like, it'd be so loud, you know, you're sitting behind the curtain and all of a sudden, you know, they call your name and then everything just quiets.
Yep.
And it's like, hello?
You're in that zone.
Oh,
you're in that zone and no one can stop you.
No one can stop. Yeah. And then you know, lay down, you have the bar come out and then it's just all you hear the commands. It's just start, press, rack, and you're like, how did it go? You know, like where are my lights? You know, but it was so quiet. I remember that was the first experience I had in a powerlifting meet. Was that experience where I sat down and I zoned either completely in or completely out, depending on how you look at it. And that's all I heard were the cues, and I was like, this is the thing, man. Yeah. It's so quieting.
It's peaceful, and
it
doesn't matter what kind of intensity you're going. I always try to like strive to get in that zone to where like it's you, like you're not worrying about anyone else, you're worrying about yourself, like, and you just know, like whenever I get in a zone, I'm like, no, that's where my confidence goes to on all-time high, and I know I'm gonna perform. That's just how I know. But sometimes like I did Wadapalooza one time, and I just remember like I couldn't get in that zone, and I just knew something was gonna happen. But like that stress and anxiety, like you kind of do it to yourself. It's just like controlling that zone.
Yeah, there's a bell curve with anxiety, right? Like there's not enough where you know you're not able to perform well. There's a lot, not a lot, but like on the opposite end, there's too much where again you can't perform well. And there's a medium here. You got to learn how to like find that medium. Yeah. Yes, you have anxiety, but you can use it towards your advantage, right?
Yeah,
I like that bell curve quite a bit.
I like it too. And if you can correlate and teach yourself, then you can teach other people. Oh, we just become better individuals.
Oh yeah. How do you manage that? How do you get into that flow state? Do you do things specifically to help you achieve a flow state?
I think practicing, not lying to yourself while you're in practice. I think a lot of times people, like they'll be like, okay, I did enough today. I can save those last 2 sets for tomorrow. No, like pushing through, completing all the training that you write yourself out to, especially if you know what the match is or like you know what the workout is meant like for you to do. Not cheating yourself. Holding yourself to that standard, and then on top of that, visualizing your success. You do those 2 things, then you're going to get into that state. But on like what happens is that you know you don't practice that level, and you're like, man, I kind of cheated myself. You're on game day, you're like, man, I kind of cheated myself. Like, can I really do this? I remember doing this and it hurt. Can I do this game day? I remember that pain, and now you're getting that anxiety, and then your heart's racing. You're like, oh God, here we go. We're praying.
And then it's less, you don't have the the background at that point, and you're just second guessing whether you can do this or not, even though maybe you could.
Yeah.
Because you're so far in your head, there's no getting out of it.
And you're not really visualizing it, right? And you're just, instead of visualizing your success, you're visualizing how you cheated, or how, like, man, I should have trained harder. I'm not ready for this moment, right?
There's a lot of interesting things my dad taught me. One of them definitely being, I gotta give him kudos for the visualization technique. Like, I can think whatever I want, but that is a tool that I think will last for the rest of my life, and in anything that I do, whether it's in sports or this or in any other business. Like, visualize it, really, like, put yourself in that moment. There's something to that,
There is.
and I know that there's research on it. I just don't know the research that will end up leading you towards accomplishing that thing for whatever reason. And
that's like how, like, you set goals and dreams. You got to visualize it. If you can't visualize yourself there and you just keep on speaking it, you're never going to achieve it. You're never going to want to push yourself through those goals or those dreams. You got to be able to visualize yourself in that situation that you want to create. And then once you do that, that's whenever you map out and you set, like, that's a dream. This is what I want to shoot for. Here are the goals I got to set in place. And then in those goals, you don't cheat yourself during those goals, because every time you cheat yourself, now you're going to be thinking about whenever you cheated yourself, unless you're good at lying yourself. And then now whenever you visualize, it's getting more and more dim rather than brighter and brighter, because you keep on, whenever you set your goals. That's what I learned about in the gym. You set small goals, and you start realizing, oh, you hit that first 135 bench. You're like, holy crap, that's cool. Let's see if I can do 185. There's a goal right there. You accomplish that. And then you correlate to squats, deadlifts, all these things. And now it correlates into life, because you visualize yourself hitting 185. Now, what can I do that in real life? And you transition all that, and it's like crazy how much that transitions to real life. And I try to teach that to my clients. I really do. And I'm like, it's the easiest way too, because your body's capable of so much amazing things. And if you just set small goals in the gym and then correlate it to life, man, it's crazy.
I think it's life's best teacher.
It is. It really is.
There's so many good things. I like telling myself, like, if I keep good quality form, it doesn't matter what the external load is. In a controlled environment, I've selected, 80% of a 1 rep max, and I have a set of 5. It's going to be hard, sure. But if I just make sure I'm breathing, if I'm squatting, then, like, knees are out. I'm repeating these things in my head. Just, hey, do all these little things. And then by the time you finish, like, you're done and you've accomplished that set. And it didn't matter what the external load was. It was just mattered, like, how I talk to myself in here, and then practicing those things continuously. And then all of a sudden now you're squatting a shit ton more weight than you never thought you could. And it's just like little bits at a time, focus on what you can control, and then just watch the success come.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the key word there is control. Like, focus on the things you control, like your cues in the gym. And then whenever you're going into outside of it, like your life, control the situations around you. Like, don't react. I think the worst thing you do is react to a situation. If you just react on emotions or react negative to emotion or to, like, the situation, it compounds. It's like a snowball effect that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and turns into a big avalanche. And now you don't want to get out of bed because all these negative emotions occurred. And you're like, man, life sucks. But no, it happens to everyone. Everyone has stuff going on. You just got to learn how to control your environment. Focus on the small little cues, just like when you were working out. Okay, how can I get out of this situation? Boom, you get out of it. Oh, that wasn't so bad. I worried about it for nothing.
That is worried about it for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, controlling even the small things. Like, right now, I'm having a real hard time of getting up in the morning and looking at my phone for like an hour. Like, I pretend like I have like 30 texts probably, like, or 30 notifications every morning, emails, whatever's going on. So I go through all those, and then after that, I can and should get out of bed, but instead it's right to Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. And so the control would be set my phone in another room, set my phone just further away, so I have to get up and, get it. So I'm up Right. And then now I'm probably more motivated to just, okay, like we're going to shower, we're going to do our routine, we're going to go downstairs. But now the routine has become so habitual where it's just like, all right, look at the emails, look at the text, look at all these things. And then we're just going to stay here for probably way too long.
Yeah. That short-term pleasure.
Yeah, man.
I do the same thing. And I know, like, and what's crazy about it, right? You might, because I'm the same way. I got to respond to my clients. I got to answer some emails. And it's rewarding. It's like a completed task. It's great. And then you go into the short-term pleasure of things. Like you go on Instagram. Next thing you know, an hour passes. And you're like, man, what could I have done in that hour? Or let's just say on Instagram, you find something that pisses you off. Now, the things that you completed in the emails or responding to the clients, that doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter that you completed work. Now you're focused on a negative connotation. And guess what you just started your day with? Negativity. And it just creates a negative environment throughout the whole day. I'm really trying to fix it to where, like, it just answer the texts, answer the emails, go rate, make your cup of coffee that you love. Like, I love a cup of coffee in the morning. And just create the snowball effect of positivity and completing tasks rather than, have by chance looking on social media and getting pissed off.
Yeah.
Especially with all the opinions nowadays.
There's a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
I like to get up and have some, I don't have any socks on, so I just, walk straight to the shower.
You're cold, man.
Yeah, I'm so cold. Cold.
Step on a cold tile, man. Oh God, I'm getting...
Feels so good.
Oh.
Go shower. And I have these eucalyptus spray. I'll spray the eucalyptus spray in the shower.
Yeah.
It's too much, so it, like, burns my eyes a little bit. And it just wakes me up and feels really good.
Yeah. What's the study on that? Is it, like, beneficial? Or just something you enjoy?
It's something I enjoy. I just like the way it smells.
I respect it. I didn't know if there was like a study like
I think there is behind eucalyptus. I think it's supposed to be good for but it's like how much of that is like, I don't know that that's real science or if that's like just not necessarily pseudoscience, but like astrology kind of stuff, right? These oils but there's still value to these things. I just don't know the actual research.
Yeah.
So,
but it brings you enjoyment and it's positivity right there. If it brings you enjoyment, that's positivity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I should do is just, hey, you got eucalyptus oil. You get to step on a really nice cold floor.
Let's burn my eyes right now,
Let's burn my eyes a little bit. Like, what a morning,
Why do I want to go on Instagram? I got eucalyptus. Come on now.
Exactly. And I'll put on a podcast. I'll listen to a podcast a little bit. Right now I'm listening to Magnuson on Joe Rogan's podcast, which is fun. Yeah. So listen to that in the shower. And then...
I want to get more in podcasts.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to this one.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Because I like you.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't like a lot of people. I like you, though.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
I'm not flirting, by the way.
Hey.
I'm just saying. I got a girlfriend. I'm just saying I like you.
Did you hear this, girlfriend? He's hitting on me.
Sorry, Katie.
Katie?
Yeah, Katie.
She's stolen. Or no, you're stolen. Sorry, Katie. She missed out. It's the socks.
It's the socks.
Yeah,
you didn't. Yeah, you keep on making fun of me.
We're going to convert you.
No.
To being in Las Vegas because Venom.
Actually, I've never been in such a nicer gym. And I'm like thinking about just moving down here. But she's whenever she gets in medical school, she's looking to schools. I'll throw in a couple Las Vegas applications.
Yeah. UNLV has a medical school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think so. No?
I don't know.
I think UNLV has a medical school, and I think there's another school here called, I think, Roseman, and then I think they're just medical. I think they do dental and medical, but I think they're a private university. I could be wrong. But yeah, move out here. Hang out.
I like the vibes out here.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
And it's so hot that you don't even need socks.
No. Have you stepped outside?
Well, today it's cold.
I've been here for 2 days. It's been like this.
It's cold season.
My feet aren't touching nothing.
Give it like a month and it'll get better. Maybe. It does get cold as shit though.
Yeah. Especially at night, I bet, with the desert and everything.
During the summer, not so much. Like, it's still like 80, 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, it's still fucking hot at like 9 o'clock at night. Like, you will go out and sweat.
Yeah.
But during the, I guess, winter time, it's definitely just cold all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. What do you want to accomplish out of Grid League?
Like with Grid League, what do I want to accomplish with Grid League? Maybe I definitely want to, really have Venom shine. I love what Coach Paul stands for. And with like you coming along and everything, like it's really hyping everything up. And with the teammates that's coming in right now, the environment is turning into more of a community, which is great. And I kind of want to like try to help spread awareness of grid. Because I know whenever I work out of a commercial gym, because sometimes that's like all I can do real quick with my tight schedule. And there's so many people that come up to me. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? What are you training for? And I'm like, oh, it's this thing called grid. Like, not really many people have heard of it. And whenever I show them the page, you're like, holy crap, this is nuts. This is a combination of everything. So just like helping, like just reaching to, because literally grid is everything. It's calisthenics, it's CrossFit, it's strength training. Like you're hitting every style of training, and it's crazy how it's not becoming more well known. So just like hitting those commercial gyms and like really trying to spread the word for it.
Nice. I think doing stuff like this is helpful. It sounds like you got more podcasts that are coming out specifically around grid.
Yeah.
And so I know I do one next week with somebody, Nathan, Daniel, somebody like that.
I'm terrible
Who
with
is
names.
it, Paul? Whose podcast am I doing next week? Daniel. Boggy. What's the name of the podcast? Off the bench. So I'll be on them next week. And so it sounds like the sport is definitely growing quite a bit. And I think doing stuff like that definitely is helpful.
Yeah.
And then doing stuff like what we're going to have tomorrow in Vegas, which is not coming out for another little while, but like what we're doing, what's tomorrow, February 20th, 21st, whatever the tomorrow is. We doing more stuff like that is helpful.
Yeah.
So just got to do more of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's unique about Venom, and hopefully we get the opportunity to where like more of the players can show up, but we have 3 different home gyms, right? We got Dakota, who's very awesome for opening up his gym to host this event. We got Alec, who opened up his gym to an event that's going in 2 weeks. And then we got a couple gyms in Orlando and around Coach Paul's area that will like host another thing. So it's like, if we can just bring in a community and show them like, hey, this is grid, not just CrossFit, because usually you do it out of a CrossFit gym because of the open rig and everything like that. But like if we could try to do it at a commercial gym or try to spread awareness to a commercial gym, like, hey, this is what's going on, like just come check it out, like all this other thing to spread awareness, I think would be really cool. And I think we could like make something out of it. It's just hard getting the players there.
That's the next piece of it, right?
Yeah.
I guess just making sure that there's enough cash.
Yeah.
To supply the players with at least like travel and lodging, you know, start there. Then if we can continue to grow it as time goes on, like that'd be sick.
It would be sick.
Yeah. I had another question for you about training and I forgot it. So yeah, I think that's all I got.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. Maybe one day you'll fuck without socks. We'll see.
I even go to the beach with socks on. Yeah, I knew that face was coming.
That's wrong.
Is it?
Yeah.
The sand burns your feet.
But then you get all the sand in your socks.
That's fine.
No, it's not.
At least it's getting my feet colder.
No.
I knew you'd be like that.
That's the worst.
I know.
Of all things, I feel like
I'm
that's
starting a movement, and you're going to start seeing more people at the beach with socks on.
I hope this movement fails.
Me too. But it'd be awesome if it does.
Yeah, that's terrible. Sandals. Even then, sandals suck too.
Yeah.
Because you still get all the sand in your fucking shoe.
You're right. Sandals do suck, and I won't go to that movement. I'm sticking with my socks.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you, man.
the time, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Love y'all. Bye.